What is going on, guys? Smooth Racing here, back with a brand new video, and today we have our top 5 British Grand Prix. To celebrate the British Grand Prix this weekend, we'll be counting down our top 5 personal favourite British Grand Prix of all time. And be sure to leave yours down in the comment section below, but let's get on then with number 5, and that is the 1955 British Grand Prix. This was the last win for Mercedes until Nico Rosberg managed to bring home the victory in China in 2012, a whopping 57 years later. So this, marked the end of Mercedes' dominance. 1955, of course, was dominated by the Mercedes team. In this particular race, they got a 1-2-3-4 finish, but it was the home driver Stirling Moss that took the spoils in this race. An absolutely amazing drive. He was just 2 tenths ahead of his teammate Fangio, and had a brilliant battle with his teammates and did a fantastic job. Sadly, though, he would not be able to win the title in that year, as most of the races were cancelled due to the passing of one of the drivers. Popping in then at number 4 is the 1976 British Grand Prix, and this was at the height of James Hunt's and Niki Lauda's rivalry. And there was such a big battle between them two. I'm sure you've probably all seen the movie Rush, and this was at Brands Hatch as opposed to Silverstones. And of course, the rabid home fans really wanted Hunt to win, and they were really cheering him up. He'd lined second on the grid, and at the start, Lauda led from pole. His teammate Regonzini got an even better start from 4th on the grid and challenged the Austrian for the lead, only for both of the Ferraris to actually touch. This resulted in a pile-up, brought out the red flag, and the confusion began, with the stewards only allowing cars to take the restart if they completed a whole lap. It emerged that Hunt had taken a shortcut and was technically disqualified. With the home crowd's anger, they allowed him to take the restart, and then Hunt promptly won. So a very controversial Grand Prix, but certainly a very memorable one for James Hunt, and certainly a fantastic win from him. In at number 3 is the 2008 British Grand Prix. This might have been number 1 for many Lewis Hamilton fans, but I don't think it was quite deserving of the best ever British Grand Prix. A fantastic win for Lewis Hamilton and pure dominance, which we're yet to really see. A race like this, I suppose you could sort of compare it to the 2013 Singapore Grand Prix, but he did have a 68 seconds lead ahead of Nick Heidfeld, and it was probably most incredible. But it was a very wet race, a very rainy day, and it was very good. And this is, of course, only Hamilton's second attempt at winning his home race, and what a time to achieve it. Moving on then to number 2 in our countdown, just missing out on top spot, is the 1998 British Grand Prix, and Michael Schumacher was at the focus of this. This was the height of the rivalry. Mika Häkkinen for the title, of course. Häkkinen would later go on. Both drivers were at the sharp end of the grid. Yet again, the race day was rainy and damp, and both drivers moved ahead of the field, with Häkkinen in front and building a hefty gap. A mistake led to a spin and front wing damage row, and the safety car period would define the race. Schumacher would lap Alex Wurz under the safety car whilst keeping up with Häkkinen, and the race stewards issued a penalty at the very end of the race, but it was unclear whether it was a 10-second stop-go or 10 seconds added to the race time, making sure they obeyed the protocol. And now that Schumacher had a healthy gap ahead of Häkkinen, Ferrari brought their lead driver in for a stop-go penalty. The timings couldn't have been more confusing. The penalty was served for the final lap, so technically Michael won the race in the pit lane. So a very dramatic race yet again, and more controversy from Michael Schumacher, pitting on the final lap and actually winning the race, even though he came across the line in the pit lane. And due to the race stewards bunging, the results stood, even after McLaren protested, obviously wanting Häkkinen to win. But of course it wouldn't matter in the end, as Häkkinen would manage to achieve his first ever World Championship. But anyway, the moment you've all been waiting for, and number 1, as you can probably guess by now, is the 1987 British Grand Prix. This is a year in which the Williams had a very pacey car. You can tell by the next 2 years how McLaren came and dominated. Well, 1987 was Williams' year, and they had 2 fantastic drivers in Nigel Mansell and Nelson Piquet. Both of them were really going at each other, and of course Piquet would end the season as the win. But anyway, these two had a fantastic battle, some superb driving from Mansell. He then passed Piquet and broke the lap record a stunning 11 times on lap 62 while being right-handed right behind Piquet. Mansell faked to pass right, only to dive down the inside left, taking the lead and holding on to the very end. An absolutely fantastic drive from Nigel. And of course, one of the main things at the end was when he run out of fuel, and he actually stopped on the straight, and the Silverstone crowd actually jumped onto the track, invaded his car, and a very popular victory indeed, probably the most popular victory of all time with the British fans. Anyway then, I'm Speed Racing. Be sure to let me know your top 5 F1 British Grand Prix down in the comments. Of course, 2013 might be making it onto some of your lists, and hopefully 2014 will be making onto this list this time next year. I'm Speed Racing. I really hope you've enjoyed, and see you guys next time. Goodbye.